right, welcome and thank you everyone for joining us for another Twitter Space. Today is August 1st, and this is episode 18 of the ledgerscale Internet of Value Open Forum. A ledgerscale Foundation was founded with two goals in mind. One, we want to provide educational services to not only our community, but to the entire digital asset community and scale up the number of brains that understand how distributed ledger technology works. And two, we intend to one day run hardware to provide infrastructural support to the distributed ledger technology networks that we believe are ESG friendly and running a form of decentralized consensus. We host these spaces Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, starting at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And on Wednesday, we host a focused topic space from 5 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. If I could just ask if everybody could follow us at ledgerscale on Twitter, turn notifications on so you know when we're going live, and hopefully retweet the space just so if you guys find this information valuable, I'm sure somebody else down the road will. And I think it's just me today. So I'm sending invites to everybody. If you guys would like to come up and ask questions or have any topics that you'd specifically like to talk about today. So I think Carmen might be sleeping right now.
What's up, Doug?
What's going on? Right. Tony to the save. I just got home too. I was gonna make something else to eat. Any news today though? Anything hot? For some reason, I felt like I was saw a lot of Twitter Spaces that were really like down today, but I didn't see any news other than I guess the protests over the weekend, and it was Bangladesh and Pakistan now, right?
There was something about the SEC charging 11 individuals with $300 million in a crypto pyramid scheme.
Oh, interesting. You can post it. Can you post it at the top? Didn't hear
Yeah,
that.
I'll post up the actual thing from the SEC.
11
Yeah,
individuals, 11 projects.
11 individuals.
Oh, wow. So that means they must have proof then.
You would hope so, but then again, it's the SEC. Hold on a second. I'll put it up on top right now. It's up. Let's give it a second.
Forsage. Never heard of it.
Yeah, promoting Forsage, a fraudulent crypto pyramid scheme Ponzi that raised more than $300 million from retail investors worldwide, including the U.S.
Yeah, as soon as you touch you as investors, I mean, that's all that matters.
Hey everybody, how are you?
Hey, what's up, NYC?
You know, also what I saw today, Austria, they're in the worst housing crisis they've had since 2008. I think they had like a 50% decline or something like that in a day.
Austria?
Yeah, it was Austrian. Aust- Aust- I don't know. I'm sorry, man. It was a weird one that I haven't seen that country before. I think, but yeah, it was like Austrian or Austria. Yeah, something like that. It wasn't Australia, that's for sure. Yeah, I think it was Austrian. Let me look it up.
What was it? What was it that happened there? I'm not seeing anything from
Oh,
Austria.
their their housing prices just tumbled. I read it earlier. Hold on, let me look for it.
Okay, I found it.
Did I have the right country?
I think so. I'm reading it. Stupid ads. Hold on.
So, Death, did you hear about the news for the CryptoPunk holders?
CryptoPunk holders. No, what's that?
So Tiffany and Co is gonna make them
Oh,
diamond encrusted
that.
pieces.
Oh, is that what it is? So that's how it's in regard to the CryptoPunks. Now, do they own the CryptoPunks? Is that it too? Because I was in a space, I was talking to somebody about it earlier, but I went into more of like the details on the specifics of what an NFT is, more than what they're doing.
I'm not sure, but it's in the article. It said CryptoPunk holders, so I'm assuming it's those that have the NFT. Now they're gonna have a $50,000 Tiffany and Co. diamond encrusted piece of their exact CryptoPunk.
Okay. So I see. So you have to buy it, and um, then you have to give them which punk you have. So you actually have to own a punk, for it to even be worth for you buying this.
Correct.
Uh, it makes a little bit more sense right now.
And I thought it's a good push to integrate the mainstream retail people. Definitely create a lot more exposure for this type of stuff.
I get worried though at the same time because it just seems like a money grab. The way that they've released it on such a short notice, like they have.
But do we know how long they've been working on it? I
What
mean,
can
because
you catch me up to speed real quick? Because I missed all that. I don't know. This app was doing Twitter type quality. What's the discussion?
We were talking about the Tiffany and Co. They released something today. They're going to do an NFT. The jewelry, Tiffany.
Oh,
yeah, they're releasing a 38th NFT, and if you own that plus a CryptoPunk NFT, you'll be able to redeem a pendant and a chain with it. With
For
custom,
fifty
it's
thousand dollars though.
yeah, custom to
That's a
your
lot of money.
NFT. Definitely is a niche community that they're trying to reach for sure.
so how do they make money?
Off the $50,000 pendant.
And most likely, if they're partnering with CryptoPunks most likely either gave them a whole bunch of Ethereum or some sort of money to promote themselves. This is most likely. That's why I said as soon as you said they were working with CryptoPunks, so first thing I thought to my head is they probably just handed over uh, the millions of dollars for this, probably kind of like a partnership promotion.
What network is it hosted on?
Definitely Ethereum.
I think it's good, whether it turns out good or even bad, because if it turns out good, then woohoo, we got a big major company coming into the Web3 space, and it turns out bad, well, damn, we got a major company who's going to be a prime example of what not to do.
Well, we've already seen this, like with the somebody said it in the last chat, the Adidas drop. I think a lot of people were upset with the Adidas drop. I don't know whatever happened with that. And there was another one that somebody said that, like, these big box companies just come out and they're kind of just like just making money off of the public.
But that's what they normally do anyway. What's the difference?
That's it. We just have to recognize it. I don't think some people don't see it. I like though how people refer to them as Web 2 companies. So by the way, if anybody wants to come up, has any questions, you know, want to change the topic and speak about something that you might be thinking about, please feel free to hit the request and come up and speak with us.
So I'm reading the SEC filing, and it says those charged include 4 founders of Forsage, who were last known to be living in Russia, the Republic of Georgia, Indonesia, as well as 3 US-based promoters engaged by the founders to endorse Forsage and its website and social media platforms, and several members of the so-called Crypto Crusaders, the largest promotional group for the scheme that operated in the United States from at least 5 different states.
That name sounds familiar. Crypto Crusaders.
I think I've heard it before. I'm not sure from where though. Yeah.
It definitely does sound familiar.
So Forsage, it says here, was a website that allowed millions of retail investors to enter into transactions via smart contracts that operated on the Ethereum, Tron, and Binance blockchains. However, Forsage allegedly has operated as a pyramid scheme for more than 2 years, in which investors earn profits by recruiting others into the scheme. Forsage also allegedly used assets from new investors to pay early investors in a typical Ponzi structure. Boy, I wonder how many more are going to come after this.
I'm sure a lot. Just hope they do it the right way, and everybody acknowledges that it's just a product from a company, and it's not some huge community. And people get very intertwined emotionally, right? Like, just realize it's a product.
It says here, despite cease and desist actions against Forsage for operating as a fraud in September 2020 by the SEC of the Philippines, and in March 2021 by the Montana Commissioner of Security and Insurance, the defendants allegedly continued to promote the scheme while denying the claims in several YouTube videos and by other means.
Well, they must have some sort of transactions on them to be able to arrest them and get them like that.
Is this thing working?
Yeah, you got rugged though, Karma. I got rugged 3 times earlier too. I had to come back and leave.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed when I tried to open Twitter on my other phone, it took a couple minutes at first.
It goes mute, and I can't hear anything when I try to connect my headphones. And then I disconnect my headphones, and then the whole app just freezes.
I'm on Twitter on my desktop, and I don't know, the volume's coming really low for some reason. I'm hating Twitter right now.
But OC, you're like the 1% of people who have figured out how to do that on your laptop.
It's not consistent just yet.
It should just be there. Like, Twitter should just have that capability, right? It's aggravating.
They should.
No, they don't like the laptops. They don't like the Windows. They don't like the desktops. They don't like that. No, they don't. It's all. They didn't even like Android at first. You couldn't do certain things. You had to have an iPhone or be running iOS. When it comes to the Spaces things, anyway. It's been interesting watching them develop this product, or I guess service, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we are definitely the guinea pigs there. Yeah.
Oh, I learned a thing or two with the. We haven't talked about. We'll talk about this later. Never mind. I did a ticketed space yesterday just to see how that worked. There was definitely some lessons that I didn't. I wouldn't have expected it to work the way it did, but whatever. I mean, it was interesting.
It looked fairly simple because I could have. I was about to enter, but then I saw that thing run out the clock. But it's fairly
Well,
simple because it's
one
hooked
of the
up to the Apple App Store.
well, one of the things was that, so like, say you start your event at noon. Nobody that shows up after noon can get in. So you gotta, like,
Wow.
yeah. So like, say basically the way I interpret that from a logical point of view is, let's say I'm gonna, like, this chat will end at probably 5:30 Eastern. So you basically have to set the start date for the end. This is this thing that comes up in my other thing in my other software company too, because the start date, because we have like security stuff. And so you got to put the start date at the end, like, so that people can join. You can go ahead and start the chat, right? But if you start it, say, like in 5 minutes, which is what I did, then there's only 5 minutes worth of time for people to join, and then it doesn't let anybody else join. So basically, I interpreted that as put the start time as actually the end time, and then you can still go ahead and start the conversation, but at least people are able to join up to the end point. And I mean, you can keep the conversation going after the end point, but anyway.
Well, you can also just give, you know how you do with the ledgerscale account right now. You set the timer, a heads up. You can do that as well with that.
Yeah, you could do that. But see, we can't do that with ledgerscale. Your Twitter account has to get approved. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I think it's the over 1,000 followers thing, but my KC account, Karma Coverage account,
By the way, Karma, I messaged Mario Newfall. He hasn't replied back, so I was just thinking if you want to go on this space, just to go on it and become a speaker, but use the ledgerscale account so people can follow that.
yeah, when is that?
It's August 4th at your Eastern time, so um, I think it's 11 a.m. Eastern.
Um, I don't know if they'd let me up. Um,
Yeah, he will. I'm sure he will because he allows speakers. I mean, I've spoken on that space a couple times, but it gets like really crazy because there's a lot of people.
uh, okay. Well, hang on. Let me put that on my
I would,
calendar, or
yeah. I
else
mean,
I'll
I would
forget.
just say, you know, I think it's great exposure, and I think, you know, just speak a little bit about ledgerscale. If they have any questions about XRP, I mean, who better to represent the community than you, right? And then just see how many accounts, see how many likes you're able to
What's
get.
his name?
Mario Newfall. I'll send it in the group chat.
Well, I'm putting it on my calendar. Um, what's it? Do you know his Twitter handle?
Yeah, let me look it up right now. It is Mario. Oh, add Mario Newfall.
MARIO.
NAWFAL.
What?
NAWFAL.
So MARIONA. Oops, I did a typo.
Dot.
WFAL.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I put it on my calendar.
It's going to be mainly the space is going to be mainly focused on XRP. And from what I've seen, other people they are already from the community are already going to be going there. I'll send it in the group chat that we have, and I'll post it up right here as well in the space.
Yeah, go. I mean, I don't know the guy, so whatever. I don't know his, if he's just genuinely interested in information, then that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's had various people from even the big BTC community go up there, and they'll talk and they'll discuss things.
Who is it you're speaking about?
He's Mario Newfall.
What's
He's having a space focused on XRP.
what's his name?
Mario Newfall.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll send. I'm looking for the space, the tweet.
I mean, as long as he's genuine, then awesome.
Yeah,
great.
they're very professional. I mean, he has some things going on sometimes in this space where it's, I would say, not really my thing, but they're very professional.
Okay, cool. I mean, I know I looked at him. You mentioned this before, and the guy definitely had a decent sized following.
Yeah, that's why I thought it would be great to just go in there with the ledgerscale account and then promote it. I mean, it's great exposure. I'm not saying stick for the whole entire space, but I think it's great exposure.
Well, I mean, if they're interested in this stuff, I have no problem discussing things. That's fine.
I think it'll be great for the ledgerscale account because you're trying to get to the 1,000 followers.
Yeah, that for some reason they make you get to that before you can unlock certain capabilities or certain functions that I don't know. Dude, I hate Twitter.
Same.
If there weren't all the people here, I wouldn't be here. Seriously, I mean, Twitter sucks.
No, I'm on the same page, dude. I'm not a big fan of social media in general.
Well, and I've already been kicked off once a couple of years ago for doing literally absolutely not doing any, like literally not doing anything. I got kicked off. I mean, like, I don't think I had tweeted for a month or month and a half, and I got kicked off. It's like, what? Okay, cool.
Damn, Twitter gave you a timeout.
No, it was me and a bunch of other people. We all got kicked off at the same time. It was Bitcoin people attacking Ripple community.
What was that last night?
No, it was a couple years ago. Tiffany got kicked off. She's the only one I know of that recovered her account. But she had a big enough following, like I didn't really do Twitter because I think it's kind of stupid. But if you did anything with insurance and blockchain, you kind of ended up bumping into me. And so, yeah, all that got erased. She was able to recover her account. Most of the other people were not. I think she's the only one that was able to recover her account. And it was some sort of a attack. I don't know. I don't know what the attack vector was or how they came about it. I don't know if they just took a bunch of bots and like made complaints about, flagged like this is a bad comment, no matter what the comment is. This is like a whatever they say, bad comment, and then like you get enough accounts saying it's a bad comment, and then like the algorithm just suspends the account or something like that. That's kind of what I figure happened.
So Tony, how do you become the speaker in one of these things? Does he let everybody up, or is it like
Yeah, he'll give people a chance. If you have a lot to talk about or share, you'll stay longer as speaker. And I mean, if you go in with a ledgerscale account, they won't see that as like an individual. They'll see it's a foundation or like a crypto page. So I mean, I'm guessing that they'll take it more. They'll give you more time.
yeah, that could be interesting.
I would try to be as much as talkative as possible, to stay up longer, and then just mention to him, mention the space. Like if anybody has any questions, I'll be very happy to, take like a little bit of tell a little bit about yourself, about the Ledger Scale Foundation, what you guys are doing, and why you're doing it, and then yeah, just answer questions. Like
Well, I didn't want to use his space as a.
I mean, like briefly, like very quickly, so, and then just yeah, see what he says. Like, from the
I mean, if
most
he
part,
just
from what
wants
I've
to
seen,
like, talk shop, basically, let's talk shop, right?
yeah, I mean, from what like they had a Bitcoin discussion, and they were talking about the implementation of Bitcoin, and what where it could go, and they had like Bitcoin maxis there. He's very professional. He's not going to be like, oh fuck that coin, or sorry, but he's not going to be like very biased. But I did see
Well,
that he interacts with other accounts in the community, in the XRP community. So I'm assuming there's going to be other people going in there as well. Again, I'm just saying the main thing is exposure for ledger scale, because a lot of people go into his spaces. Like his macro, they had a space right when they were announcing the Fed interest rate hikes, and like 46,000 people ended up attending. So, I mean, even just a little bit of time to stay in the space, I think would be great for the number of likes to go up for the ledger scale. Um, the exposure will be great because the goal is trying to find 1,000 likes, right? And then you can just do the rest.
well, I put it on my calendar, so there you go.
Yeah, stop by and then see if you like the discussion, if you want to participate, up to you.
I mean, it just matter how much you would allow me to speak. It's not my space. I don't want to take over it or try to use it to promote. I mean, it's
well,
not.
if it's an XRP space and there's no one else in there, and you go, hey, this is Ledger Scale, and what we do is we provide educational services to the community for provide especially on right the XRP ledger. They're going to be like, oh, all right, why don't you talk then? It would only make sense if they actually want to talk.
That's what I'm saying. If it's a genuine conversation and they want to talk about how the stuff works, then awesome. Like, hell yeah, that's cool. Hell yeah.
What's up, Red Eye and Vet? How you guys doing today?
Hey, doing pretty good. Just
Hey, guys.
enjoying some time off in the middle of the day.
What's the news on the street?
Just a lot of macro stuff, I guess, going on in the world. But the one thing that Tony posted before was the SEC charged 11 individuals for their role in a $300 million Ponzi scheme through Forsage, promoting Forsage.
Sounds like a normal day on the crypto street.
Has anybody heard
Right.
of that? That I know you mentioned you didn't hear, didn't know about Forsage. I've never heard of them. Has anybody else heard of them?
No, but the Crusaders, I have for sure. Crypto Crusaders, just so familiar. But Forsage, no. Go ahead, NY Crypto.
Hey, how you guys doing? How's everybody doing?
Hey, man.
Well, how about yourself?
Not bad for Monday. Did you guys get to see the tweet that I tagged you in? With Meta's advertisement about the metaverse and the surgery. Did you get to see it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I like the little clip. How it was like popping up with like the check mark, like you did a good job. Like, it's funny. I think it'll be more computerized than anything. Like to go into surgery and to have a human to do it in 15 years from now, I don't know. I think it'll probably be all automated, and so there won't be a need for a human to even do that in the metaverse. But it's cool. I like it. It's a way that I think doctors will be able to see what's going on in a different manner.
Yeah, NYC had a space last night that I think you would have enjoyed it. I know it was late, and we were talking about like just how far the metaverse can be. I mean, get and how big it could be. Like,
Yeah.
just I was like, man, Death would have enjoyed this conversation for sure.
Look what I posted above. This is something from Hong Kong. So, Hong Kong University of Science and Technology recently announced plans to launch the world's first metaverse university.
How would that even work? So you're just attending from home?
Yeah, you attend from home.
This is basically. I mean, this is all. I mean, this is so BS. But I mean, it's what's already I think been happening with COVID. Basically you do online schooling and that's it. I mean, yeah.
Times of great change only happen during times of atrocities, and so we have an atrocity in
Yeah.
part of the great change.
Yeah, I was about to say, how is that any different than just go, attending college from home, like home, online courses?
Well, so here's the difference. People complain that they sit home all day and there's no interaction or anything like that. Well, now maybe you'll be able to stand up on your little walking pad that'll basically interact with, showing you wherever you are in the university of the metaverse, right? And so you'll even be able to walk around and sit down with people. Maybe you could have lunch with people, right? You're just eating it, but you have the virtual goggles on. Everybody else is eating around you.
So it's basically like online college or from home together with an online game like basically.
Yeah.
Nah, but
Yeah.
it could be utilized. I mean, yeah, we had a nice space last night. I wish Karma and Death y'all could have joined, but y'all weren't available. It's all right. But now I understand what you mean, Vet. Like a lot of these technologies already exist, but the metaverse is just gonna culminate all of them together in a way where you can kind of get money for your data instead of you having to invest in so many separate different things. All right, now think about it. Vet, picture me as somebody who's in a wheelchair, right? But I'm really smart in science, but I can't really. Let's say I want to study marine biology, and I don't have the capabilities to scuba dive or to even go in the water. I'm handicapped, but I have the mind for it. So if you throw me in the metaverse, you could throw me in the same simulation as like a live person, and I can kind of dictate their movement or I can learn from it, and then we can take real life data because, like Karma likes to talk about, data is stuff that already exists. You know, you can't really talk about future data, and then you can utilize that in a way where the school can teach their children, or the children, or the adults, whoever's studying at the moment, in a kind of more interactive way where it's also beneficial financially at the same time.
I had a dream when I was younger that this is a kind of a weird thing, that I got paralyzed, and that the only way I could do anything was by like thinking through shit. And there was like a computer interface, and that's about the end of the dream. It was weird, but for some reason I still remember it. I mean, that's decades ago.
That could be you in another multiverse.
Yeah. You
One
can
of
you
one of
can
the
upload your conscious karma, and you could become an NPC in somebody's universe and just have like a karma coverage, like a little stand, and you'll just always exist.
one
Well,
of the things we were
it was a weird thing, because oh, this is gonna sound crazy, but from like a feeling point of view, it was like I felt helpless, like I was paralyzed, right? But I could still think. And so like I could have an impact, but it was only through thinking, because I couldn't go like actually do the doing. Uh,
I mean, teaching has to change in 100%, as you said, because um, even the online teaching right now, like it's very basic. Like what is it like? You if you watch some videos, or they have a series of videos, it's basically a slideshow commented by voice. That's it. So it's not really, you're not getting really deep into the matter of what you're studying. So
yeah,
that has to change.
if you go to if you drive to like campus and walk in the classroom, what are you going to do? You're going to look at a freaking PowerPoint presentation and some douchebag saying blah, 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 whatever, explaining the presentation.
You know what I think about? I think about field trips. Remember, you take a field trip to the zoo when you were younger to go see certain animals or whatever. Now, picture you doing it in the metaverse, and you actually go to a safari. But I'm not talking about in like 5 years from now. I'm talking about 50, 100 years from now, where not only do you have a headset, you actually have equipment that you could put on that also puts your body into the metaverse. So, like, if you go into water, you could feel that temperature change. If you go deep down scuba diving, you could feel the pressure change. So, you could train scuba divers to actually kind of get used to certain elements that they're going to feel in the real world before you actually apply it in the real world.
There's a step beyond that where you take and you have, okay, a real true physical object. Okay, let's say I want to go diving on the Great Barrier Reef, right? But I can't afford to fly over there, and I'm not scuba certified, blah blah blah. I have this I can't, as a practical matter, go diving on the Great Barrier Reef. So but there could be a robot that gets tossed off the side of a boat, right? And that robot can have all the sensors in the world: temperature, video, sound, everything. All the sensors in the world. And I could be in like an immersive situation, and I'm basically diving the Great Barrier Reef. I mean, at least as best as I can possibly achieve, because I can't obviously go over there and do it firsthand. So, toss the robot off the side of the boat and let somebody have a good time. They can even control the robot and swim it around and what have you. Like, why not?
That's where I was going with the drones. Not only that, but so think about this: it could be a business idea. you could be somebody who owns a series of drones, right? And so you live or have a storage unit by the beach. And so say somebody wants to visit that beach in their own, but they're, they don't have the money to travel. Well, so they just rent the VR service from you, and they're ported into one of your drones, which they could just lift off, right, and have the controls and go and swim in the water and or fly and do all the different scenic things. You could rent it out by hour or whatever.
I forget the name of the company, but there's already a company that effectively does this business model. They do submarines. The submarines, okay, are they don't require fuel because they're you know how like the wave action goes up and down and what have you. So that physical up and down generates energy enough to keep the thingamajigger going, and so they just basically kind of like float around, and then what they do is they sell they won't let you buy it. You can't buy one, and but they'll sell you access to the data feed, and they're just packed full of sensors. Temperature, water, height, wind, blah, the whole thing. Every freaking sensor they can put on there, they put on there.
No, I agree with you. I think those would be like the initial test that we would use to gather information. But in the future, if you think about it monetarily and financially, it's not beneficial to have devices that could potentially need troubleshooting.
What are you guys talking about? There's actually some a company that's building a technology that will help you feel what you're seeing in the metaverse. Like when you grab something, you will be able to feel what you're grabbing. It's crazy.
That's called haptics.
Haptics is the company. Is also a very military
No,
defense company, but the technology is kin aesthetics, which is under haptic.
Yeah, haptics is like
Haptics is
it's a physical, like let's say I had a ball here and I bounced the ball off the ground. If you were holding a haptic device that was connected, you would feel the ball bounce off the ground.
Yes, haptic uses kin aesthetic technology.
Yeah,
Which
but
is
then can you guys
communication in
hear me?
3D, which helps with the communication in 3D touch. It's pretty cool.
Crypto base, do you hear NYC?
Do you hear NYC?
No, I might have to leave and come back. I don't hear him at the moment. Do you, Karma?
No, I don't hear NYC. Is he talking?
No, but he was speaking.
He was speaking, yeah.
Yeah.
He's coming back. One of the things that
I'm
we were
telling you,
talking about.
Twitter sucks, man. I know these things. We do these things mostly on Twitter, but Twitter sucks. Just saying.
Yeah, but I've been following the haptic technology for a very long time too. I remember they first coming out like in the 1990s or so, and they've been starting with a lot of this things from then. But they also help with a lot of military projects as well.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of haptics is a big. It's a it's a it's one of these things that its time of day is going to come in, like, say like around, say, a little bit around, like the companies that will probably start a little after 25, and then they'll mature around 2030. That would be if I was to make a guesstimate. This stuff's gonna come. It's really cool.
One thing I was wondering about, and that is, I think I want to hear what your perspective is on this. What are some ways you can imagine the Neuralink being tied into with the metaverse? What kind of things do you think they could do with that?
With what? What was it?
The Neuralink and the metaverse.
That's so far out, I don't even know.
Well, Neuralink, metaverse, right? What I would think would be this, or like a BCI, right? Like a brain control interface. They already have. It's a competitor to Neuralink. There's a lot of different Neuralinks that exist in the sense of the objective. But so maybe you could put like a contact lens in, right? And so even if you're disabled, right, or you can't move or do anything, because you have the BCI, which can connect to the Wi-Fi for you, you can still, without even goggles or anything, you just can put like little lenses on your eyes, and you'd be able to go into the metaverse. And because you have the BCI, which is able to read brain different synaptic connections that are being fired off, you don't even have to, like, if you were paraplegic, you don't even have to worry about moving your body to be in the metaverse. You could just think you want to walk, and so somebody who's actually not even able to walk in the real world would be able to walk in the metaverse because of these devices.
You know what I like to reference to, Death? An anime put on, and it takes you to a place where you are a character in this world, pretty much like a metaverse. And it's like they go through like an RPG kind of scenario where you grow yourself and you become stronger, you do magic and whatnot. But the basis of it is that you put on this, takes you to this place through your mind while you're just lying down. A Neuralink.
Talking about metaverse World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? That's what, even when I was younger, that's the playing Pokemon, I would think about, oh, imagine being able to see one in real life. With like Pokemon. But like even what you just was talking about of being, if you're paraplegic and being able to do certain things, there is actually a person that had a chip connected to his brain that they were testing for him to be able to drive cars, which it was successful. To even think about all this being able to be done now, technology is going to be able to be very interesting how fast a lot of this will be coming to a lot of us. It's wild.
I love the side effect for, specifically disabled people or similar, that they get the opportunity, like basically get back into the life.
Well, like
but I'm curious how it's, sorry?
For people who are like I'm unable to move, right? Well, one thing I mentioned to YC was, how about people who are colorblind or who are blind in general? I know the Neuralink
they could essentially see in the metaverse as these connections, right, are just synaptic connections firing off in the brain, right? And so
no, because trust me, I went through this because I got shot in the eye, and you got one optical nerve in each eyeball, and if that thing's gone, you're screwed. Like, that's it. So unless you can connect to that optical nerve, you're there's no dice.
So this
But
is how
imagine being able to recreate that using the technology that's going to be able to be available to reconnect that. That would be crazy if there actually was to find a way to do that
you could
using certain anatomy, which is possible.
you could even think of it as like it could be almost in a subconscious connection type of way, like when we have virtual worlds where you put into a type of sorry, I forgot the word. Platonic. No. Having a brain
No,
fart. Kind
man,
of. No,
I
like
promise you,
like
unless
so.
just
If you're seeing, because even somebody who has vision, right? If you were in a sleep state and in a virtual world, technically it's only your brain and the images that are being pushed into your brain via the device that you're using for you to be able to see things. And so, as much as you're not using your eyes to see things, it's the synaptics connections that could create the images in your mind. And so maybe you go out of the virtual world and yes, you still can't see anything, but you still have those images in your head. I wonder how that would react to
Dude, this is
somebody.
so far into the future. It's amazing.
I wonder how somebody who's
Is
blind
it
and not.
wild?
So can you guys hear me now? Karma, can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Can
can hear you,
everybody hear me?
Wicked. I can hear you. Can you guys hear him?
Yeah, I heard him.
yeah,
I'm just going in and out too.
I
Yeah,
promise you,
808, you were
there's
talking.
one
So
nerve. It's literally one nerve, and
yeah,
if you
Karma, I agree with you there, but I also agree with Death in the sense that if you had synaptics in a way that you can kind of feel what's happening in your environment, but then also you had maybe some form of glasses or goggles that you can put on where the eyes would be of the candidate, and they would kind of screen grab everything and record what's going on live, and then it could kind of connect to like a
they
Neuralink.
they can't. They can't. And I mean, I literally almost lost my eye. The 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 vision center of the brain is in the back of the head, and there's literally. I mean, this is ridiculous. Quite honestly, from an evolutionary point of view, this is absolutely ridiculous. But there's one nerve and then it somehow connects all the rest of the network of the brain that takes the images to the back of the head where they get processed, and then
So,
that's how
Karma,
you see.
do you think people who have this issue, do you think when they go to sleep at night they don't dream in picture or anything? They just see complete blankness?
That was a good example, and why. But I
I
No,
don't
don't
think
know.
because
it's this like
the way I see it is if you just take that example and then you look at the, oh, I'm not talking about right now. I'm not what I'm trying to tell you right isn't gonna happen right now. It's gonna happen 50, 100 years. I hope sooner, but it's gonna be like 50, 100 years. I'm talking about the future. But you already have Neuralink where you can have connections to an animal. I think they started doing it on pigs, and you can kind of manipulate stuff and inject ideas and kind of control it. If you can do that, then you can also receive. Because if you're using the internet, you send data and you receive data. So there's going to be some kind of identifiers back and forth, and you could correlate, and that's a different topic. But if you can
Do
kind
I,
of,
do I think somebody who can't see still has the capacity to visualize things? I would say yes.
yeah, and so it's like the interesting thing, like if you've ever sat in like a dark room and you just shut your eyes and you kind of focus for long enough, you can almost inherently like know what the room looks like, and so
Your senses become stronger.
senses become stronger. But so in the same sense of like you'd be tapping into that part of the brain where and it kind of made me think of something like somebody who was born blind, right, has been blind their entire life, right? Do they how would they see their dreams? And so how would the images, because their synaptic connections, right, it would have to be all about input data and being able to study which synaptic connections when they fire off means what in each person's brain. Would that be a different kind of it's hard to know because would their synaptic connections be different, right? They wouldn't
I
have
mean,
the
it
no,
could
I
be
agree. Well,
it
we all
could be
know
like
that
a
all
little bit
blindness aren't
of
the
a superpower.
same.
It could be like a little bit of a superpower, right? Because they might be able to see things in a different way.
One thing I know for sure that they would have to be able to do is reconnect optic nerves from your eye to your brain. In a sense, that's how our images from our what we see gets transferred to our brain. So
Isn't
it'll
that
be
something
crazy.
similar to what?
No, but Karma made a good point.
What?
What if you've never seen anything and you've only seen like a shade of gray your entire life? Because we know that not all blindness is the same. Not it's not like one
True.
category. Some people just
Oh
see
yes, oh
certain
yes. So
shades.
it would depend on it would to me I think it would depend on case by case scenario, like how you just
Yeah.
explained. How would you be able to help someone that has never been able to see? Well, to me, I would think a, a data source of sorts will be able to help that person be able to see, like, but this is like way in the future kind of thing, you know what I mean, like an immutable source of data which it can be processed for the person quickly enough for them to be able to see that image or to understand that image, like a
We
car
would,
or like
we
a
would,
tree.
as like in using AI, we would have to study
Yes, that's some
which
crazy stuff.
which exact synaptics fire represents color, image, spectrum, square, rectangle, right? And so if we can do that, we can forcefully fire those images back into the brain. And so in like the virtual world setting, right? If we're forcing those images back into the brain and we know the brain is going to react and feel this, see this, right? I guess we could forcefully, in the sense of that way of make a virtual world for somebody who's never seen anything.
Right, ain't that wild, guys? That's some wild shit.
One
They would.
Yeah, but
I
I believe that will be the most difficult task. We spoke about it yesterday. Like people who haven't heard for the first time and people who do not see, those will be the most difficult people to integrate into any kind of like metaverse or any kind of futuristic technology. Those are the real obstacles. But everything else, like you lost a limb, maybe you lost
and
one
like
eye, everything else is kind of manageable. But that's very difficult, the vision and hearing.
you hit the nail on the head. So I've I've seen video of like kids where they were born deaf and then they do some kind of whatever procedure and all of a sudden they can hear again, and it makes them like they don't know how to handle it. It's like a it's not it freaks the kid out.
It's not a feeling that they're used to or used to remembering because it's so new to them, kind of thing. So yeah, it will be very, yeah, it's a crazy thought to have and a crazy process to think about, but I don't think we'll be too far off of achieving certain levels of it. But I don't believe, like, I believe in the way in the future things like this will be accomplished. But it's crazy to just talk about it and have conversations and breathe, and because it's gonna breathe more ideas and more things that people's gonna think about, and to work that brain and to work that kind of ideas in your own self creates a good place for to exercise your brain and stuff, because there's a lot of technology out there that's being worked on that a lot of people don't know about, but only comes to find out through other means, like say we come to this space, and then look, a lot of people that's in this space don't usually talk about this kind of stuff, but then we talk about it, or whoever else talks about it, then they'd come to think about it even more, and who knows who else they touch along the way, which it's crazy just to think about all this.
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, I know this has nothing to do with crypto, but like my grandmother kind of lost her eyesight. My one eye's got bad. The one I got shot with the fucking Roman candle. Um, that was painful. Um, yeah, I mean, it's like it is what it is.
We used to do that as kids all the time, just shoot Roman candles at each other.
Same here, guys. I used to play war with Red Devils, bottle rockets, red all kinds of stuff. My uncle actually used to sell fireworks.
Well, I took
think
one
about
and I promise you it was not a fun experience.
well, next time in the future, this will be in the metaverse, and people won't actually do this in real world.
It'll be able to hit you in the face, and you won't feel any pain.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But
I'll
you'll
tell you
know.
one of the goofiest things. Seriously, because your eyeball's like stuck in the middle of your head, right? You don't. I mean, you can't really touch your eyeball, so the pain is like stuck in the middle, but you can't touch it. And I'm telling you, like I've injured myself, God knows how many times, but at least if you can touch the thing, the wound or the whatever the hell you screwed up, um, I don't know. There's some sort of mental aspect to like, you can touch it. It just sort of makes it feel better. Dude, you can't touch your eyeball. You just can't. And it's
You
like
don't want to.
huh?
Yeah, you don't want to touch your eyeball. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong with that.
Well, I mean, you just can't. You just can't. That's that. It's weird though. If you can touch, let's say you broke your leg. Okay, cool. You can at least touch it. I don't know why that matters, but it somehow matters. From at least my experience. Yeah, there ain't no touching your eyeball.
It's because it's
Well,
exposed flesh.
so right now they have glasses for people that are colorblind, and I don't know. It's just wondering how they would do that in the metaverse because you're not going to be wearing double glasses, right? And you can't. It's different.
Yeah, but
Wait,
those things.
what did you say, Tony? I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
They have
No,
glasses.
it's all good, man. They have glasses for people who are colorblind right now, so they can see colors they've never seen before, and or just in general, like they can't see colors at all, so everything is just like gray. And so in the metaverse, how would they be able to do that? Or would the neural link be something that would fix that, address that?
That's a really good question.
In the end of the day, right? It's like everything that we see, feel, touch, right? This is all somewhat of a firing of synaptics in the brain, and the brain is analyzing all of these things. And so, as long as we have the brain, I think anything of access will be possible.
I that's a good question because I know what you're talking about with those glasses.
It's pretty cool. If you see
It
videos
is.
of
They definitely.
people with like older age and even like just the young adults, they'll start breaking out because they've never seen the colors that we see. So the videos are pretty touching. But I mean, in the metaverse, how would that even work? Because it's digital. It's not.
Maybe there can exist a headset that just caters to the colorblind, and they have certain tints
And that
in like the
and that
lens.
that was also the other thing, right? NYC that we were talking about. They have to change it where I don't know. I'm not gonna be wearing no headset for more than 10 minutes, man. That shit is annoying, and it's even if they create something that's more lightweight, I'm just not gonna be able to be comfortable to see that. How many videos do you see of people knocking over stuff, falling down? If you have kids or if you have pets, are you gonna step on them, knock them out? Like what
Dude, I
they
can't
need to.
even sit for 10 minutes. The idea that I'm going to put a headset on stuck to a wire, like,
So
get
that's
out
that's
of
what I'm
here.
saying. Like they would have to implement something where you. How about if you're able to see the metaverse and real life at the same time, like kind of transparency, transparency vision, I guess you could say.
Well, Tony, when I was younger, um, growing up in the '90s, I remember seeing virtual reality rooms, and you would put like on a headset, and you would kind of be on this. It looked like a treadmill, a walkable treadmill, but it would move to your discretion. So like you had the bottom part of the visor, the 3D visor or whatever, would was visible to the floor, and the top part was able to view what you were looking at, and they would kind of scan it. But this was in the '90s. It might have gotten out of commission or something, but I believe it would be something like that. Like they're gonna have to put you into a room, or like an anti gravity room, or put you on some form of treadmill, so that the metaverse can know you're moving without you actually having to like make funny movements with your arms.
I mean, that could have been back then, but now, how is that feasible? How is that convenient for people? You know, I mean, we're speculating here, but I mean, it would just. I think it would have to. The idea of something where you could. I don't know about you guys, but I was thinking something where you can either have lenses, like just something that's the size of your glasses, and or contact lenses, where you're able to see both worlds at once. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that idea's been around for a while.
You could also do it how Ready Player One had it. How they put them into kind of, I think it was kind of like a trance or something, but they had a suit and they would put the goggles on and they would lay in a chair, and then everything would just be controlled by the mind.
Well, that's how some of the stuff with the paraplegics work. It's all the eyes control everything, like because they obviously can't move, so but they can move their eyes. So the eyes are the interface.
At the end
But
of the day, we are so early in this, and the potential is unimaginable at this point.
Well, don't think that advertising syndicates and whatnot don't use eye movement as a input data point, because they do.
Yeah, just a second, you all guys. I've been listening. Yeah, good stuff. One correction: I am colorblind, and we don't see like just gray. Like you're colorblind to particular colors. So I'm not. I'm red green colorblind. So what they could do is just adjust it so that what you normally see is then transferred to what the other person sees as red, right? And that's how they could potentially fix that. But yeah, you're usually colorblind to a particular color set. You're not just completely blind to.
So, Kasha, would those
Kind of,
sunglasses that I was mentioning earlier, would those glasses work on you?
yeah, so you were breaking it up. That's why.
Yeah, I apologize. Let me see if I can make it a little better. A little better.
Yeah, a little better. Would Kasha? So, would those sunglasses, the ones that I was mentioning earlier, are those the ones? Would those work on you?
They've had some people that tried to get me to try them. I just haven't. So allegedly they would work, but I haven't tried them yet. So
Well, I'll tell you what. My one eye has gone goofy the last 6 months.
So, does it look like a lazy eye or something, Karma? Do you have like a lazy eye?
No, what I think is happening is it doesn't drain. So your eye constantly has fluid coming in and out of it, and the the drain. What happened when I got shot was the eye will try to wash the blood out, and the blood got clogged up in the outside of the situation. And
Yikes!
well, yeah, because then what happens is the PSI builds, and once you get to around 30 PSI, it'll crush your optical nerve, of which you only have one per eyeball. Um, and so like when I went in there, it was at 35, and they just immediately, I mean, there was no anesthesia or anything. They just took me straight into they just started doing surgery. And I watched the whole surgery. It was fucking weird. And Yeah, dude, that was anyway. So, then a couple of years after that, I came out with that fine. Thankfully, it didn't crush the nerve, and so my eyeball still worked. Then a couple of years later, it got clogged. I think it's just clogged again, and I got it. The problem is, when they unclog it, what they do is they take this really tiny, skinny, pliable needle and they like stick it right in your tear duct, and it's basically rotor your eyeball. You know.
Weird. Well, thank you for that.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's not a cool thing. It just is what it is.
Yeah,
God.
I've never had to. They've never had to stick anything into my eyes. The worst thing was just LASIK, but it was like 10 seconds in my eye, and that was it. And I couldn't see anything for 2 days.
Nah, they stick a whole freaking needle thing down your tear duct. It's the weirdest. It's the weirdest. It actually doesn't hurt, but it's just, dude, you don't want a needle heading towards your freaking eyeball. I'm just saying. It's, yeah. I mean, is what it is.
I'll just quickly say, like, I did like what Def was saying earlier about the metaverse, and that's kind of how I envision it. Is that you can create these experiences are just so unique, right? Immersive and unique based on basically people's imagination, right? That people just want to go and have that experience, right? And so I think it almost is like an interactive movie that you can basically kind of like really get I don't even know how to say a constructed experience, right? Not just open like a video game where you go in there and just walk around and talk to people, but just like create this almost like theme park where you go and get this, unique experience. And I think that's probably one of the things that I find interesting about the potential of the metaverse.
The people are going to take this thing to such heights. It's ridiculous.
Well, Carmen, remember you were also, I don't know who it was that mentioned it a couple weeks into space about you having a virtual course on the metaverse about ledger
Oh
scale.
yeah,
Yeah,
That's something you can do as
yeah, like
well.
a second life, right? And I just want to say, because it's towards the end, I forgot to say anything. If everybody could follow Ledger Scale, turn notifications on so you know when we're going live, because we have these. I'm loving this chat today, but we have these chats like this Monday through Friday, starting 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, and in about 15 minutes, I'm going to close it up right at that 5 o'clock mark today, because I have to head out of Flare Community chat afterwards. But just want to say love you all. All right, keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to change. I don't want to change the subject. Go ahead, Tony.
I wasn't going to say anything else. It was just the course that, the virtual course that Karma you can have on the metaverse and teach, expand ledger skill through there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like so, like through some a game like Second Life. I know they're already doing this on that game, so that's why I think that's going to be such a popular thing in the future.
I'm more, I'm more like I'm not too much in the metaverse thing, but I'm more curious as to how it could help people that are blind, people that are disabled, or people that can't hear. I'm curious to see where that goes.
Interesting. Can't hear, and so
Well, that's what I was saying about the Neuralink, how that may tie up to that, because the Neuralink, I mean, I wouldn't do that, dude. I'm not putting no chip in my brain. When it
that
can just deactivate, I'll just collapse.
or the visual aspect. Like we were just talking about this the other day. like I was pretty derogatory towards the video chat stuff initially, but then I saw a lady. I was walking over to the beach, and she was sitting in her car, and she was signing, like sign language. She was signing to someone over video chat, and I mean, immediately I was like, "Oh, this is great!" Like, oh my goodness! Like, I just never thought about it, right? And but immediately it's like, well, duh, this is a good thing. And I never really put down video chat because I think it's kind of stupid, right? Just call me. But yeah, no, once I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This is great. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and like in the same sense, like those on YouTube, right? If you're on YouTube watching right now, if you have any questions or you wanna come on and chat, please feel free to come on Twitter and chat with us if you'd like to, because there like you said, there's so many different ways that people can learn and that do learn, right? Like video and audio and reading. It's interesting to see it all incorporated into one metaverse where you can cater to everybody, even though they might not be able to or capable to have that experience in the real world, as in the sense of sight, or I guess even people like smelling, right? Like there are people who have lost their sense of smell and taste. I wonder if you'd be able to have those things if we were able to.